Yeah, hi there. These comments are for, let me take a look at your ID number here. I was hoping you'd write that down. Let me check on the internet quickly here so I can know who I'm talking to without having to say your name. I'm going to just use the last 4 digits. Got it. Here we go. So I'm going to say 4893. Okay, got it. And thank you for logging on. I notice you log on from time to time at the end grade just to check your grades and so on. So let me know if you have any problems at all. I try to resolve those as quickly as I can. Okay. I'm taking a look at the essay. Now the question is, you have, what I'm looking at here, I mean, you don't even have the same font with the whole project. So you want to have one project with 3 parts. So how do you do that? Well, you do that by including a paragraph before part 1 that unifies the 3 parts. So you didn't do that. You went directly to the first part of the writing assignment. So you need to consider some type of introduction that will set up the 3 different parts of the assignment. Now in part 1, you're discussing the purpose of book reviews. In your second paragraph, you're talking about the expectations that readers have from book reviews. I think that's appropriate. And then let me take a look at the next paragraph. You say, my book review, most of the critique was positive. There were some things I do not like what the author did when he was presenting the information. I criticized the author and how he organized his information. And weather, you put weather as in how's the weather today, but you don't want to spell it that way. Spell it W-H-E-T-H-E-R. That's a connector. That's a totally different word there. Be careful you're spelling. You say, so it looks like you're including what you want to put in the book review. So let's take a look at the book review itself. Yeah, and let me go ahead and number these paragraphs. So beginning with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so we'll take a look at this. So paragraph 1, I want to check the thesis right now. So the Los Angeles Lakers have never been boring, love them or hate them. This basketball team has been through it all. So that's a comma splice. You're joining 2 different sentences together with a comma. Stop doing that. That's not good. You want to make sure you demonstrate control. So what do you do after boring? You could put a semicolon or you can put a period. That would control your sentences. Then you say, in Madman's Ball by Mark Heisler, he talks about the devastating heartbreaks, the glorious triumphs, the relationships formed, lost, the oversized egos, the media attention scandals, heroes, and the backstabbing to last a lifetime. So then you say, it's a history book which covers it all if you're interested in the history of the Los Angeles Lakers and how they got to where they are today. So the problem is you need a thesis. A thesis. Why do we use a thesis in writing? The reason we use that, CN, I just say your initials, is it helps us organize what's going to happen in those body paragraphs, and it connects it back to the beginning. So you have this meshing going on in the writing, but you don't really have a specific thesis in the beginning. Now paragraph 2, you say, one thing the writer did well is that he starts from the beginning when the Lakers were brought from Minneapolis to Los Angeles. It allows for the organization of the information to flow naturally. So maybe this is a point you might put in the thesis, is you like the organization of the book. Now, use paraphrases in there, use summaries, and use quotes. Don't be afraid to do that. You have to. I mean, you're talking about a book. So where are your in-text citations? You have to include page numbers and things. So, and I don't think that you really did enough here. Paragraph 2 is not supported enough with the book itself, the paragraph is just simply too short. You're missing a lot of good details that can help back up what you're trying to say. So you really need to talk about, in the beginning, say, first of all, the writer has an appropriate structure, for his intended audience. Then you talk about how the book's organized. You want to talk about chapter by chapter, and then how it all fits together as a whole. So, and you must include your in-text citations as you do that. So I think your paragraph 2 is weak. You see, another thing the writer does is he talks about players that were in the Los Angeles team. Now, what are you saying here? Are you saying that he uses telling detail to captivate the audience? So he does well if he's talking about players or writing about players. What is it that he does well? Is it using details? Is it recreating dialogues? Is it recreating scenes? And of course, what effect does that have on the audience? So again, paragraph 3 is a very weak, I think, topic sentence. It's very, very general. And your paragraph there, I don't know, it's not very supported. You say he describes their height, their position, their scoring averages throughout their seasons. There. At that point, when you say that, he describes them. Give an example in the book that you think the writer is doing a good job in describing one of the athletes. That's where your quotes come in, or your paraphrases, or maybe even your summaries. And then you include your in-text citations in there. You see, he talks about Baylor, who was a power forward, talks about how Jerry West joined the Lakers. Baylor was a Kobe Bryant of the Lakers of his time, and Jerry West was a rookie from West Virginia. So if he talks about these people, where does he talk about them? On what page and what chapter? Is this chapter 3? Is this chapter 4? If it is chapter 3, how does it fit within the context of the whole book? So again, it's just not very specific. You say at the very end of that paragraph, you say he mentions the older stuff about the West, Baylor days, which makes the book even more informative. Older stuff? I mean, we're in college here. You're using words that are just too basic, I think, for this level. You need to break out of your comfort zone and start using more academic vocabulary, which you're not really doing. You could have written this paper to me in about 5 minutes. There's not much going on here. I mean, you've had several weeks to put this thing together. It doesn't look like that, to be honest with you. Paragraph 4, you say, Mark Heiser is one of my favorite writers for the LA Times basketball section. But to me, that's more of a fact. But if you want to say another effective thing the writer does is, and then you say he combines creative writing skills with an in-depth knowledge of the game. So then you say he starts off with an introduction by Jerry West. He describes the origin of the Lakers and continues in each decade and ends with Kobe in 2009. But to me, paragraph 4 here, maybe you can combine it with paragraph 2 or maybe paragraph 3. I don't see how that's really hugely different, and both of the paragraphs are really short anyway, so you have a lot of kind of redundancies and repetitiveness going on here. Number 5, you say, my favorite part of the book was reading about the history of the Lakers. You say, Mr. Heisler makes, I would say me because you said I couldn't, he makes me feel like I am experiencing part of the history. Being the original DJ, the internal struggles, Pat Riley's rise to fame. Again, it's just not general enough. You got 6. My only criticism is the pages start to fall flat when entering the 2000 decade. There are very few insider information here, and the constant back and forth between Kobe and Shaq starts to become repetitive. I like this, though. This is actually a good paragraph. You say, I wish Mr. Heiser wrote more about Phil Jackson and his status within the Lakers organization, such as his relationship with Dr. Booth, Jerry West. Okay. And then you have paragraph 7. This looks like the third part of the writing assignment, right? The condensed version of your book review. Okay, so let's take a look at your grade here. Okay, what we have to look at here is, if you want to get an A or a B, you have to have a much better organization than what you're having. And the other thing that's also giving you a tough time is in A, it says explores the issue thoughtfully and in depth. I don't think so. I'm not convinced you've read this book, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't really see from your analysis and your evaluation, and you're not pulling any evidence from the book at all. There's no in-text citations anywhere. You're just kind of talking about the book based on your memory. You're not really doing a research type book review, so I don't think you've done that in depth. Do you show some depth and complexity of thought? No, I don't think you have much depth at all. The adequate says may treat topics simplistically and repetitively. Yes, that kind of fits in your situation. Adequately organized and developed, generally supporting ideas with reasons and examples. No, I don't think you're really doing that. So I think your essay is going to fall below 70 because you need to provide more support. You need to take more evidence from the book. And then you do analysis of that evidence to help support the evaluation you're trying to make. I mean, you don't even really have a sharply focused thesis in the beginning of the book review. It just doesn't all tie together very well. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of thought with this particular paper. So unfortunately, I'm going to give you a 68 out of 100 on this particular paper, so I don't think it passes the way it is. I mean, there's just too many really well-written essays that I've looked at, and yours, unfortunately, doesn't compare very well to those. So what do you do? A, nothing. B, rewrite it. Can you make it better? I'll give you a shot at it. I mean, if you think you can make this better, you got 7 days from the time you get this paper. Now, when you turn in your rewrite 7 days later, you want to make sure you submit the original along with my comments here. Well, actually, my comments are not here. My comments are on the video. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down, if you do a rewrite, I want you to write down how the second draft is different from the first. So what suggestions, what strategies did you employ to make that second paper better than this one? Remember, you need to have a much better organization. You need your works cited section, your in-text citations. You need all of that, right? And you need a lot more depth. You need a lot more evidence from the book, either by paraphrase, summary, or by direct quote. Use quotes. There's another student in the class who did this. You're hiding from the quotes, but you can't really legitimately enter the academic discourse community of writing without dealing with quotes. You got to show that you can handle. You can handle them. You can put them into the essay. You're avoiding them altogether. You're not demonstrating any competence in that area at all. All right, anyway, if you do rewrite the paper, good luck. I'll be happy to read it again. And thank you so far. I've enjoyed having you in my class. I call you and the two others the Three Musketeers. So I think you can do better than this. Can you do better than this? The question is, will you do better than this? It's all up to you, right? Okay, anyway, thank you very much.